Sometimes I hear in non-duality circles on the internet that because there's only one consciousness and there's no real self or other, that there's nothing to do. Sometimes this is described as there's no doer. And although I understand what this means, sometimes it's misinterpreted. Your true nature already is free and unlimited. It's just the answer given by some is not to do anything. Like there's no doing, there's no doer. You're already free, so don't do anything. Any attempt at practice, for example, is considered dualistic, an impediment to the realization of consciousness. That's not how it works. Imagine that you're a homeless person and you're looking for scraps on a road somewhere, some back alley in a city, and dirty and unkempt and just really in a miserable state. And you're just sort of eking along and eating out of garbage cans and things like that. And then this wise person comes up to you and says, you really don't need to do that, going through the garbage for food and so on. You're a billionaire. It could be an accountant, a wise accountant who's aware of your situation and was tasked with finding you, perhaps, finds you picking through the garbage for sustenance. Let's just say that he's aware that your account that he has verified has $1 billion in it, which in a sense resembles limitless funds. $1 billion is a lot of money. There's different things you could do with that. You could just reject that. You could just be so identified with that state of lack and limitation that you screen it out. You don't believe it. Like, yeah, right, get out of here. But let's just say you hear it and you may not believe it right away, but you're willing to give it a chance. Like, okay, let's see what this guy's got. Maybe he's got something for me. The next logical step to prove that would be to access your account. If you hear the accountant tell you that you're a billionaire and you believe it, it would be a mistake to say, hey, you're already a billionaire, you're good, don't worry about it, and then to continue picking through the garbage. That's not how it works. You have to access your account. He's going to say, here's your ATM card, here's your account number, whatever. Now, here's a map to the bank. Now, go there and do it. There's some instructions. It is something that you do. If you don't do it, and it doesn't matter what you already are, in this case a billionaire, you will not realize it. Realizing it means you can withdraw funds, spend money, get a hotel room, take a shower, whatever that is that source of funds would give you. So realizing that you're already free means you access that consciousness through a set of instructions. When people say that you're already free, that consciousness already is, your true nature is already free, which is true, and yet then make the logical leap that therefore you shouldn't do anything because that's dualistic and prevents you from realizing it, that's an error. It's like you're having a bad dream and you're trying to wake yourself up from it, so the initial steps you take are dream steps. Even if they're not ultimately real, even if those steps are an appearance that we would call duality, that's what you do when you start out. You read a book, for example. That's something that people do, and it would be ridiculous to suggest that books are dualistic. They use dualistic language, or there's a subject and an object. Therefore, any attempt to read or obtain anything from a sacred text would be a waste of time. There's something going on here that occurs in reality, in our depths, that usually requires action in this dream world, in this world of suffering, in this dualistic world. It requires action in the world to make it happen. So maybe you attend a retreat, you sit in meditation for a certain number of hours, you read certain texts, You practice, you study, you listen, you find spiritual teachers, you study their methods, and you try to wake up. You work at it. When someone tells you that your true nature is already free, that in your essence you are one with God, that you're a truly liberated being in your essence, and you're just trying to discover that, it would be a mistake to say, hey, it's already the case, you don't have to do anything. So when I see that, usually online, I see this, I hesitate to call it a teaching, but this guidance that you shouldn't do anything or you don't need to practice, that's a mistake and keeps you locked in the dream. Because in this dream, there's a doorway, and you go through the doorway and you don't know what's on the other side of it. And that's part of it. Everything you know in the dream is partaking of this dream logic, and the door opens into something that we're calling awakened consciousness that is not represented by this dream. So it's stepping through a doorway into the unknown. It's like a hypnotic suggestion. It's a symbol. It's a structure within consciousness that allows us to access the truth that we are, and it looks like a person doing things, but it's not dualistic because the movement arises from the other side, as it were. So when you hear the teaching, when you hear the wisdom coming from a sacred text, for example, you're studying a text or you're watching a video, and assuming that the teaching is held, in a sense, by a person who has attained that realization that they're talking about, the actions that you take based on that guidance arise from your true nature. There's only, in a sense, one consciousness, one freedom, one reality. When we hear it, it appears to be coming from a separate source. When it's valid, it comes from this one source of all that is, and then appears as dualistic behavior, which is not what it is. I've described it as hearing distant music or following a fragrance that's utterly unlike anything of the world. You follow it. The source of it is in freedom. It's your true nature reaching out to you through the dream and appearing in this dualistic, subject-object, mind-dominated world. And those are just appearances. So there's nothing but consciousness. There's nothing but reality. That's true. It's just when we're hypnotized in believing in what our mind attaches to our thinking, to that subject-object mentality, we suffer from that. We're not aware of what it actually is. So it is like a hypnotic state. The true teaching tells you that you're already free and that you just haven't realized it yet. And there's certain meditations, certain practices you can do to achieve that. Now, those are all appearances. So, yes, we're using dualistic language to express something that appears to be dualistic. It's not. It's just where you start. You start with where you are, and you do certain things to get where you want to go. And yes, some people wake up spontaneously. If you're on a deliberate path, that's different. You attend retreats, you read books, you sit on cushions, you practice, you pray, whatever it is your practice is. You do those things. It's sort of like putting yourself in the current of a river. The river's doing it. It doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. You may paddle this way or that way. You're going down the river. You're going a certain way. You put yourself in the current. You hear the teaching and it says, your true nature is free already, and here's how you find it. You meditate, you notice thoughts without judgment, that kind of thing. When you do those things, it's taking you somewhere, and what's moving is not ego. It's your true nature appearing as movement. It appears to be dualistic, it's not. That's the basic point.